Coach Campbell has talked a few times in the last couple weeks about the expanded role he's had in the past game since he's taken over football duties. And so, can you just elaborate a little bit on what that looks like for you on a week-to-week perspective?
Yeah, still tight ends coach, but it's really more than anything just a collaborative effort of the whole coaching staff being on the same page here in the passing game, between ideas, between installing it, execution. We're all taking accountability for that. So from my own side of it, it's maybe a little bit more hands-on with a couple different position groups, both the receivers and quarterbacks and running backs. I mean, it's everything. So probably a little bit more expanded from that regard, but still focusing more than anything on the tight end position.
You are a former quarterback. You in Miami, coached a lot of different positions, all of them pretty much on the offense outside the line. So, what do you think your strength is as a coach in that regard?
It's funny because just talking with Coach Campbell when he took this job and as he was building the staff, he was just talking about a staff of each coach has a strength and a weakness, and kind of finding that right balance. And so, some of the things that I bring to the table, other guys on the staff may not, and it's just finding the right rhythm and flow of how we can work off of each other from that way. But I think the thing that's really been nice in my career is I've benefited from being around a lot of different play callers, from being a player at North Carolina to a GA at Boston College to my time in Miami and now here. And so from each guy, I've been able to pick something up, both good and bad, things that I would like to emulate and things I wouldn't. And so I think that's really helped me just in terms of expanding my mind, expanding, some concepts maybe from the passing game, from that regard. But I think for the most part, it's just using those experiences and trying to help us out here. However coach sees fit.
Can you expand on that a little bit? Just your creative process. Like when you were playing, did you know you wanted to be a coach, and how has that evolved over time? I guess in terms of like understanding, like I'm going to take this, I like this.
Yeah, I think it was actually I was in Miami and a veteran coach. We had Al Saunders there at one time, and he said, you can only coach what you know. You can only coach what you know, and I think that's kind of where I benefit is I've been around a lot of different things. It's been from Bill Lazor. He kind of brought that Chip Kelly system that Deuce knows really well up in Philly. In the digit system, he was doing the Mike Martz pass game, and then Mike Sherman was more West Coast, and then Adam Gase has been more the Peyton Manning offense, the Omaha stuff, that Jim Bob Cooter had here. So there's just been a lot of carryover over the course, and so I think as a younger coach, it's just been kind of seeing where things fit, how do you attack coverages, what could go where, and I think in this element that we're in right now, it's finding what our players do best, which it's taken a little bit, and putting them in those positions to do some of those concepts.
It's helpful then to have been a part of all those systems because you can pick and choose little things.
No doubt. I mean, there's stuff that we put in this way. I mean, heck, there's a clip that we showed today from 2015, and one of the coaches, shoot, where'd you get that? But it's there's a library, there's an archive that, just we pull back from, and shoot, I mean, Brew goes way back, L goes way back. These guys, they all have great ideas that they did in their time, and it's just a collaborative effort of us coming up with the best plan for our guys.
Did you know at North Carolina that you wanted to be coach?
No, I did not. I was more of a math geek at the time, so I had the opportunity to G up at Boston College. I didn't know for sure that the coaching life was for me, but when I got up there, I was sold.
The math, I know that was your major.
Yeah.
Does that influence the way you coach in any way? Do you see the field in a mathematical way when you're creating or talking about plays?
Not so much. I tell you what just from my coaching side, not to get too much into me, I'd rather really focus more on who we're playing and the players, to be honest with you. But I will say this, just I come from a family of educators, and I think that helps more than anything. Less so my major or anything like that, but my dad was an educator, my mom was a teacher, my sister is an assistant principal at my high school. So I think just that growing up in that environment has helped out more than anything in terms of the teaching aspect of coaching.
One thing I do if you can, what are your aspirations? I mean, do you want to be a full-time play caller at some point? Is that the next
Sure,
step?
yeah, I think any coach in this league would like to climb the ladder, but it was funny. I said to Deuce earlier this year, I said, shoot, if you could tell me I could be a tight ends coach in this league the next 20 years, I'd sign me up. I love coaching those guys. I love the fact that we have a great group right now. You got TJ Hawkinson, you got Brock Wright, who's really coming on. Jason Cabenda's come over and dabbling into that tight end room and getting better every week. It's just fun to take one player and see them grow over a length of time. So that's where really I have the most joy from, and that's what I love the most in terms of coaching is those relationships and seeing guys get better on a weekly basis.
I asked Dan this, but how do you get your ideas? Like, do you, I think you have like a notepad that you keep by your bed? Is it just from film? Like you go walk around to clear your mind, something pops in your head? What's your creative process, I guess?
All the best ideas come up in the shower, So if you're ever lacking, you just hop in there and then something about that hot water and if it's not coming, you turn on the cold water and then something's bound to come. But that's no, I mean, I think it's you're watching tape, you watch another team, you hear a lot of other coaches talk about stealing plays from other teams. I mean, I think that's probably a regular occurrence, but you see something and it's okay, a play off a play, and hey, how can I make this better? How can I fit this for my guys? And that's really normally where it stems from.
I asked Dan about the Brock Wright touchdown, right? So
Yeah.
he brought that out collaboratively. You mentioned the late shift for Cabinda to kind of create some stuff. How cool, I guess, is it to see the idea play out and also play out in a way that gave your guy the opportunity to score that touchdown?
Yeah, I mean, it takes everybody. So we're trying to show them the vision, show them why we have a play in, and it's up to them to bring it to life. And that's a challenge each week. And when you have the quarterback putting the ball in tight windows like he was last week, shoot, man, the sky's the limit in terms of where we can go. But yeah, it's really encouraging to see a tight end, see Brock Wright, a guy that didn't catch many balls in college, come up big for us in a game. And I mean, he is a vertical threat. You don't see many wide tight ends that can run a legit 4.6 like he can. So I think that's awesome. That's just going to open up opportunities for him in the future. So it's good.
How much do you feel like you guys may have found something sustainable in the passing game with what happened last week? And I know it wasn't 4 quarters maybe necessarily, but what Jared did in squeezing in 7 of those couple.
Yeah, I think that's what separates good from great in this league is consistency. And so players, offenses, being able to perform at a high level really every day, every week. And so, sure, we did some nice things. Shoot, it still wasn't a perfect game. Heck, that was the message on Monday with those guys was that we left a lot of yards out on the field still in the passing game. So plenty of room for improvement, and we have to show up with that same detail, that same urgency, that same attack mentality that we had last week and execute it the same way this week. And it's going to be another challenge. Like, this is a really challenging group that we're about to face. They were very sticky on the outside, so we got our work cut out for us. But love where our pass catchers are right now in terms of mindset and how they're running routes. It's awesome. It really is.
What went into the decision to move into the tight end? Or what do you see about his game? What does he benefit from being in that?
It's we kind of talked about this, but it's the versatility. It's felt like he had a really good grasp of the running back position and just the traditional fullback role, and we just wanted to see how far we could push him. The more you can do, the more valuable you are. And so it's been fun to kind of watch him grow from, call it the end of training camp, coming in there, just hearing it maybe a different way from my mouth than it was out of Deuce's mouth. And I think more than anything, some of the more traditional tight end route running and catching, it's been awesome to see him grow in those areas. He came down with a ball in practice last week, and with torquing, and I mean, it was special for a big tight fullback. You just don't see much of that. So it's been fun to watch him push his limits a little bit.
Say about him as a player, start on the defensive side of the ball to be able to kind of adjust position to position to position.
It helps when you're smart, and he is smart, and he takes this seriously. Like, he's a true pro. This is his job. It's not a hobby, So he's attacking every day, and he just wants to get better. He wants feedback, and I would say that for really the whole offensive side, all those skill players, like there really aren't any bad guys. They want to come out. They work hard even when we don't have any wins. They are still coming out to practice and getting after it. So that's unlike anything I've ever been around in this league.
We hear a lot
Last
about,
one, guys.
we hear a lot about multiplicity on defense, right? 3-4, 4-3, changing up for opponents. With your background in all these different offensive schemes, do you think that's the evolution of offensive football too, is being able to change week to week the style and scheme you play? Is there any, I guess, challenges for players to comprehend and take all that in and execute at the same high level?
Yeah, and I think that's the fine line, is you want to have enough bullets in your pocket to attack the defense, but not too many to where we're starting to have mental errors or the quarterback's not feeling comfortable with the concept because we haven't been able to rep it. And then we have to be able to make adjustments, and that's really where we've seen growth over the last few weeks, is teams play a little bit differently than what we anticipated, and being able to come to decide, okay, let's draw this sucker up in the sand, and they go out there and get it done. So I think when we get really good and we're clicking, that's really where we're going to be at. These guys, the more they understand the why, the quicker we are to react to something different, and we'll be able to really take off.
The last thing I had on Brock Wright was just, he didn't catch a lot of balls in college.
Right.
We thought he was sort of a blocker. What would you see from him coming out to think maybe he had more than
It was his pro day tape for me that flashed more than anything. He showed up and he was running routes. He ran a great 40 time, which, that only speaks a little bit of the story. But you look back into it, why didn't he catch many balls? Well, heck, they had Cole Kmet, who was a second rounder, and they're targeting the tight end in the passing game. He was getting the balls, and then they have a young guy now that's supposed to be a really good player as well. So he kind of got a little bit passed over while he was at Notre Dame, but it wasn't so much because of his skill set. It was just more, hey, we're going to put you more in the blocking because you're better than these guys maybe in that role, and we'll give them the ball. So his kind of a double whammy for him on that. But he can play. He can play ball in this league. Yeah.